Welcome to the Deerwood Realty Show. I'm John Shink, founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. You know, I've put up with high house prices for a long time now. It's been years, and I'm just to the point where it's just driving me nuts. I'm so sick of it. And I'm going to give you 3 examples today of what I'm seeing in the market right now that just make me just sick to my stomach. It's not enjoyable. Now, look, if you're somebody that owns property and you bought a house in like 2015 and then you refinanced at 2.3%, this isn't really a discussion for you. This is more for people that are buying houses right now in the market. And I just want to say at least one person gets the situation. I feel very bad for what's going on. So I'm just going to go over these examples, like I said, of stuff that I'm seeing in the marketplace and that I've personally dealt with my own buyers, just to get a sense of how stupid this really is. And so the first example I have is a house in Maplewood, Missouri. Now, Maplewood is a nice, I'd say, suburb of St. Louis. Houses typically built in the 20s, 1920s. Nice homes, but there are some really nice parts of Maplewood, and then there's some parts that aren't that great. But there was a house that I showed to one of my buyers that was listed for $440,000, okay, which is, it's not bad for Maplewood so much. I mean, if it's a decent house. But it was severely dated. The house was, when we went to go see it, it was just disgusting. You walk into the house and it's been updated, but it was in the mid-90s the last time it was updated. And the kitchen and everything are all dated. You go to the back room. They don't show it in the pictures, but there's this weird transition to a new addition. The new addition, they didn't think to add a door to the backyard. So if you have a pet, you have to go around the front to the backyard. Also, the garage is on the side of the house, but not at the side. It's not attached. So you have to walk around to the backyard, then go through a fence just to get in your house, which makes no sense. The basement, when you walk in, like, it's less than 5 foot high. And so, my buyers are like 6 feet, so they're going to hit their head on every single thing when they go down the stairs. And that's where the washer and dryer are. It was just awful. It was just an absolutely awful. The flooring, the hardwood floors, I remember they didn't redo them, okay? And there was a large rug or something that had been in the house for years, and now it's created this lighter area than the rest of the flooring. Also in that house, there was a closet with a radiator for heat. Yes, the radiator was in the closet, and we're talking like a 4 foot by 2 foot closet. So you have to leave the radiator open. You have to leave the closet open for the radiator to work upstairs. And they wanted $440,000 for this. And as we left, I told my buyers, I said, I think this is going to go for over asking. And they were sick, and I don't blame them. And it actually did go over asking. It sold for $15,000 over the asking price. This is at 7.2% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And 5 years ago, this house would have struggled to sell for $300,000. Okay, that's example 1. All right, but there's more. So another house in University City. University City is a cool place. It's close to Washington University, and it's by a street called Delmar, and they call it the Delmar Divide. Very, very interesting and fascinating history in St. Louis. But, houses go for a good amount of money there. No problem. But one of my buyers saw the pictures online and just had to go. And we got there, and the kitchen was about 8 by 8. Okay. And that doesn't seem like it's such a bad deal. You go to the basement, you can see where the water is leaking in on the basement, and then you go to the upstairs, and there's been nothing updated since the house was built. There's no bathroom off the master suite. There's nothing, and it's small. It's amazingly small house. Okay, this house would have sold for $350,000 about 4 years ago. That would have been high. Okay, it was listed at $550,000, and someone paid $50,000 over asking for that property. And this was last week. Okay, we're in July. This isn't like the height of the flu season that caused prices to go crazy. This isn't 2.5% 30-year fixed mortgage rates. Okay, this is right now. Okay, And finally, this is the one that really caused me to be just sick. House in Webster Groves. Webster Groves is a nice part of town. No issues with Webster Groves in general, okay? The people that are selling this house had bought the house in 2021 for $375,000. It's about 1,000 square feet, all right? In St. Louis, 1,000 square feet, $375,000. That seems like a lot. They had actually outbid others. The original asking price for the house was $325,000 in 2021. We've had, since maybe 2015, house prices have gone up in St. Louis every year. We were more affected by the lowered mortgage rates in the sense that the market got even frothier. But we had always seen stuff for at least since 2015, 2016, go for over asking. That wasn't unusual. But this house in particular, like I said, just over 1,000 square feet, listed for $500,000. Okay? What did the sellers do to justify the 125? What is that? Yeah, 125,000 extra. What did they do? They put in a $6,000 basement tile drain system upgrade. That's what they did. They spent $6,000. They're expecting a return on their original purchase of $125,000 because they were inconvenienced by $6,000. The gall of these people really got to me because the agents put an update sheet online and posted what the updates had been in the house. Okay. They said that the HVAC had been updated, which it had before they bought it. They said that the roof had been updated. It had before they bought it. Okay. All of the things that they put down as updates, except for the drain tile, had been done by the previous owners when they bought it. They've done nothing literally except ask for a stupid amount of money. The gall to do that. Now, I know that in some places, Florida, Austin, Texas, other places, the market has changed. The market has gone down. And I did want to go over to this one chart. This is from Lance Lambert, and then he's also co-founder of Residential Club. But this is the Zillow home price data for America's 50 largest metro housing markets. It's good to see that St. Louis is still on the list. We've been just battered. But if you look at it, since March of 2020, the highest prices, they don't do it they're doing it by month over month, but you get down to St. Louis, Missouri, which is right here, month over month, a 1% increase, year to date, 5%, year over year, 3.8%. Since the shift since the 2022 peak was 6.5%. And then you see right here, since March of 2020, prices have gone up 40%, 40.45%, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It makes me sick. When I work with buyers, I currently have some buyers right now that literally cannot buy anything because their budget is not higher than $200,000, and you literally can't find anything in St. Louis for less than $200,000 if you want a decent place to live, and that's just gross. Now, of course, if you look at some of the touristy areas, some of the designations like San Francisco, Phoenix, you're seeing a down from the peak of 7%, but at least in Phoenix, you're still seeing a house appreciation of 50%. I mean, this is just gross. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I'm at my wit's end. I had some questions I wanted to go over with you just to kind of talk through stuff and just get my opinion on this stuff. So the first question is, what factors do you think are most responsible for the high house prices in today's market? Now, I've heard many people say that it's a question of supply. We don't have enough homes. Okay? I don't agree with that. What you'll see a lot of times online is you'll see the experts, they'll say that Wall Street doesn't really own 35% of the total housing stock. That's not true. But then they show you the chart, and the chart shows investors with 1,000 or more homes. And your small-time investor here in St. Louis may have 5 homes, 10 homes. If you added that to the number of 1,000 homes or more, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that 40% of the total housing market in the United States is being owned by investors. Of the single-family housing market is owned by investors, and I think that's a problem. And I do think that causes high home prices because, they say, well, build more houses. Well, if you build 100 houses, okay, and up to 40 of those houses are going to be bought by investors, it's problematic. It's problematic, in my opinion. How have rising home prices affected your decision to buy or sell a property? Well, I go out and I understand, like, people get married, people get new jobs. There are reasons to buy a home. And if you're going to stay in a home, 5 years, 10 years, maybe you'll be okay. All right. But for a while there, buyer's agents were saying, date the rate. And it's like, well, you idiot. The prices are going up. It doesn't matter about the rate at this point in time. Okay. A 2.5% mortgage on a $200,000 house is fine. Great. But when that same house goes to $400,000 and now the rate is at 6%, you still paid $400,000 for it. It's still a problem, even when you can refinance down the road, which is a key point, and I want you to understand it because no one talks about that. They always talk about home affordability, and they never talk about the fact that the asking prices absolutely increased dramatically with the lowered rate. So it didn't really matter. The affordability isn't going to come back if house prices continue to stay high. Do you believe the current housing market is sustainable, or do you expect prices to drop soon? Look, I'm not a doomer. I'm not somebody who says that housing prices have to drop. I don't want anybody to be hurt by the housing market, okay? Especially single family, all right? How can prices continue to go like this? And, if you look at recent history, if you look at what the United States government does, they bail out everyone, okay? And look at how poorly they look at the PPE loans, okay? Loans. You've made it so that money doesn't have the same value for all people, okay? And so I expect the government to come in and make some rule that says, okay, if you bought a house and it was too expensive, we'll float your mortgage payments or some ridiculousness. I don't think it's sustainable, but I also think that the idea of house prices crashing is so horrible for the government that they will step in immediately to try and slow it down. What strategies can potential homebuyers use to navigate this challenging market? Well, this goes into another question that I wanted to say or wanted to talk about, and that's, are buyers agents doing a disservice to their buyers when they advise them to pay up at times? Okay, and this is key. All right, I am not the busiest real estate agent in the world. Okay, I'm not even close. I have streaks where I don't sell a house in a month. Okay, but when I work with buyers, okay, we go and we look at houses. And let's say you want to buy a house in Webster Groves. Well, we go look at least 10 houses in Webster Groves before you put in an offer. Why? Because you have to get some idea and some sense of what you're getting for your money. And I can guarantee you that these idiots that have bought these houses have not looked around in that marketplace, and their agents have not done a great service to them, saying that they should pay over for these houses. Or in this case, listing your house for $125,000 more than you paid for it, and you didn't do anything to it but spend $6,000. Okay? Yes, there's a disservice being done by real estate agents who just say, oh, well, like, this house is great, just go buy it, without comparing it with any other houses, without looking and advising, and it's just horrid. So what I would say is, on a strategy for both buyers and sellers, look, if you're going to sell your home, your real estate agent can take you around and you can see other houses in the marketplace in your area and see what they're selling for. And you get a very good sense. Same is true with buyers. Go see more than one house. A house, let's just do it in here. A house in Tower Grove South, okay, is not the same price as a house in O'Fallon, okay? When you look at just price, you're going to get really, really messed up. Don't go with this idea, hey, I can spend $500,000, okay? No, that's not the right approach, because now you're looking at houses in a 60-mile radius of St. Louis, which is totally not going to work, okay? You should be saying, I will spend up to $500,000 if the house makes sense, okay? If what I've seen on the marketplace allows me to think this is a decent deal given this marketplace. That's how you should focus your efforts if you're a buyer. And if you're a seller, how you should price your home. Now, you may say, hey, like, let's list it for stupid amounts of money. Maybe somebody will come along and buy it. Maybe. It's what I'm seeing, that might be true. It's gross, but But again, I still think that it's going to rely on the fundamentals at some point. And then finally, how do you think the government policies impact housing affordability? Well, they botched it completely. They botched it. Even last night, Trump said, we're going to lower the interest rates. We're going to lower rates, okay? And we're going to tamp down inflation. The whole reason why we have high interest rates right now is because inflation is out of control. So this idea that we're going to lower rates and somehow inflation is going to go away is ridiculous, because it's not just inflation in housing. It's not just inflation with cars. It's inflation with groceries, with energy. I mean, it's a real problem. And the Fed did this. If you go back and look at my videos from 2020, I was saying during Christmas of 2020, inflation is not transitory. Get a hold of this, start raising rates, and don't hurt people. And they did just the opposite. They waited and waited and waited and said it wasn't an issue because it was an election issue, and it just is gross. Just gross. So, I did want to take 1 second to say, look, if you're a seller right now, and basically when you go look at houses as a buyer's agent, you're looking at homes where the sellers are moving into assisted living. Those are the only people selling. The house market is so locked up right now. But, I don't feel contempt for people that have lived in their house for 25 years and are now selling it at what the market price is. I have contempt for the people that buy these houses when it's just stupid. Don't buy the house, the prices will go down. That's just that simple. But you'd have to research it, and you'd have to only buy when something made sense. And I think that takes a little bit too much time for some people. And it's very, very frustrating as a buyer's agent right now to watch this go on in the marketplace. So house prices are too high. It's definitely the fault of the people in charge, okay? There should be reform in single-family homes as far as tax breaks, as far as eliminating the benefits of single-family home ownership to investors. I don't care if it's if you want to say one property or 5 properties, but stop incentivizing investors to come in and take housing stock from otherwise regular people that just want to buy a home. With that, I'm going to head on out, a little fired up. Hope you enjoy the video. If you have questions, if you have comments, put them down below. Good to be back, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.